Yo, what's up? It's your favorite homegirl, Chrshy, to go back with another reaction video for show. Yo. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm finna get straight into this one. I ain't gonna lie. I was gonna watch it without y'all, but I said, stop doing that, Chrshy. Watch it with the people. The people want to know. So we're gonna see how this one perform. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. I'll be watching Hello Yassine, Blackie Speaks, and a lot of the other social commentators a lot of times. So again, I said I'm gonna get into some of their commentary and add my 2 cents to it, see what they talking about, what they got to say. But this one, it should be interesting. It's Joe Budden wages war on streamers. Now, we know Joe to be theatrical, over the top, do the most, just to express his point. I can relate sometimes, I get it, but sometimes I can't because I don't think I'm that much of an extremist. But you never know. So let's see what Yassine is actually talking about and get into this one. But before we do, you already know what we got to do. Drop that intro, baby.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Go.
Something we can.
I would never make you pick and choose. Nah, pick and choose. Nah. Yeah.
I chopped that bitch to deuce when she tried to leave me. And never since then the back been looking healthy.
Alright. Got to cue up.
What's poppin', y'all? It looks like Joe Budden got under the skin of 2 of the top streamers in the game, and
What did
Ross
I
and
miss?
Cenat. They both had different responses to what Joe Budden had to say. I'll play the clips. We'll see if it can roll through. If it doesn't, I'll just summarize it for you guys.
Y'all little streaming don't always run shit. Shut the up. Adults are out. Yeah. Pocket handkerchiefs in. Got fly shit on. Real execs, business people, you little fuckity fucks.
Oh, he might be talking about the Grammys
sick
or
of these
something.
niggas. We only get to do this once a year. Well, listen,
I was about to say, is he talking about the Grammys when Cenat was like, who is Killer Mike? That was wild. I ain't gonna lie. For him to say who is Killer Mike, granted, I'm in an age range where the young people think I'm old and the old people keep telling me I'm young, so I get it. But at the same time, I'm also from the South. I also live in Atlanta. So Killer Mike is a staple here, right? Very special, very like if you know, you know. But that said, Kai lives here. He's in the know. So you should know, respectfully, who Killer Mike is. And if you don't, I feel like that's just one of the things where the tone should be different. Instead of expressing it from my angle of who is this guy, make a mental note and go figure out who he is. Because once you do, you eat your words. So you be better off not saying too much in the beginning. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I ain't finna lean too much on Joe's side because I don't know what craziness he finna say right now.
I rush behind Killer Mike. Killer Mike won.
What I say?
Let these know what the
What I
we
say?
really think.
I knew it was about Killer Mike.
Every single time somebody starts something, it don't even be me. It be them. They talking about me, so let's talk about them. What we have here is a case of old nigga syndrome, my nigga. Listen to me. I'm a 22-year-old young adult who likes to sit in his room and naturally, like everybody else, react to music and things like that. Okay? If I think
In the middle, I ain't got nothing to say.
Spider-Man should have won Superhero of the Year, but you think Green Lantern should have won, and Green Lantern wins, nigga, okay, it's your opinion. I'm not familiar with Killer Mike. I was just saying, I felt like Utopia should have won. Bro, why did I feel like, y'all start talking about streaming bro? Stop doing that, bro. Like, we some little niggas, my nigga. I would buy you, my nigga. Do you understand that?
Whoa!
Shots fired! Shots fired!
This man just said he will buy Joe. Respect. Respect. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm in the middle. I get it from both angles. Sometimes the old heads be going too hard. But sometimes young people got to actually do the research because respectfully. But again, that said, we're experiencing things in real time. Kai watching the Grammys, doing reactions is in real time. So the first thought that comes to his head is, oh, congratulations to Killer Mike. But I don't know who that is. So again, as someone who also enjoyed Utopia, who also enjoyed Her Loss, who also enjoyed Metro Boomin's album, the tracks that I heard from that, like, I get why from a mainstream perspective you would be like, Killer Mike. But when you, again, maybe I'm J. Cole right now. Don't quote me on that. Don't come too hard in the comments. But what I mean by that, maybe I'm a middle child right now, because I can see it from both sides. I have those essential fundamental elements to understand the whole category and why Killer Mike won. But I can also see it from the lens of the youth and from mainstream, from an angle of popularity, and how these other tracks, these other albums, these projects sonically were just out of here. Nobody in the category. I feel like everybody damn near should deserve an award. Now, Killer Mike definitely deserved what he got, his 3 Grammys. But in regards to just whether it's a Grammy or not, like, these were stellar projects. So I see both angles here.
But you always bringing me up, bro. Relax, my nigga. It's okay. That's the thing, bro. Y'all don't ever, like, have respect to the old niggas, for sure. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
that's what's up.
Respect to him for sure. The only thing I would say I was wrong at was, like, not even able to, like, do my research on Killer Mike and shit like that. But in the moment, if I want to voice my opinion, I'm going to voice.
That's what I just said. Like, we live in mainstream age where, as the youth, younger people, you don't even get the opportunity to learn what is what just yet, because you're learning in real time. So it's unfair not to give them an opportunity, give us an opportunity to figure things out as we go, even though it's being televised for the world to see us discover and make mistakes, right?
Opinion 100%, bro. The young niggas think Utopia is fire. Let the young niggas think Utopia is fire.
Right,
you feel me? The
right.
reason why shit going so crazy right now and y'all not being able to comprehend shit is because it's just simply a new wave of niggas, bro. Shout out to Killer Mike. You feel what I'm saying? If I think this should have won that, okay, let it win. I could put up like 20 clips of you doubting every 2016 freshman nigga. And look at them boys right now, bro. Y'all don't know what streaming was. Keep it like that. Because y'all don't understand it, or y'all don't get the chance to understand it. And it's completely fine. Every time when some go on, it's somebody mentioning me. Chat, I be minding my fucking business, dude. And you talk about other niggas' careers, bro. Joe, you got one hit, Joe. Joe, pump it up. Like, you got one hit, though.
I keep raising my hands because this is crazy. He going in. How you say that and then say no offense to your career is crazy. That was definitely offensive, but I'm here for it.
Bro, and everything will be all right. Other than that, be amazing. God bless. Have an amazing day.
Oh God, once again.
Well, I thought this was entertaining. I don't think Joe Budden actually has a problem with these guys. It's just content. Joe Budden knows how to rile people up. There's no way Joe Budden
is... True too.
How long does it take you to dial in your vocal?
Joe definitely knows what to say and when to say it and who he can get a response out of when he wants the response. I will say that. He knows who to poke at.
Budden is actually upset that these streamers are popping. Now, I will say that Joe Budden has a point when he says you guys don't run anything. If you don't even know who Killer Mike is, that's insane. And this is the problem that I have with a lot of people that were upset with the verdict here. Now, keep in mind, the last time Travis Scott's album, which was Astroworld, got snubbed at the Grammys, it lost to Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy. Now that is the greatest robbery. Everyone keeps focusing on, now
in that context, I will definitely say Astroworld. I ain't even gonna do Cardi B like that. But Astroworld, outside of whoever else won or whoever else was in the category, we know how amazing Astroworld was. So we'll just leave that at that.
And Kendrick Lamar, like what, 10 years ago? Or who knows how long ago? No.
Yeah.
The biggest robbery is Cardi B Invasion of Privacy winning over not only Astroworld, but the Pusha T album that came out that same year. And it was another album, too, that definitely should have won over hers. Was it Mac Miller, Swimming? Yeah, it was Macklemore, Swimming. I think it might have even been the Nipsey Hussle album, Victory Lap. Yeah, I can't even forget the Pusha T album off the top of my mind. Before we get to
she won over Victory Lap? You can't
remember the Pusha T album off the top of your head? No, I can't remember everything off the top of my head. So sit down in the comment section.
Yeah, I ain't
and
a big Pusha T fan necessarily.
Daytona, yes, that's the one.
Maybe
the one
that's me being young.
Who was the other artist? Was it Amy Winehouse? It was somebody's bathroom. So those were the options.
I'm done.
And Invasion of Privacy won. Any other album could have won and it would have made sense. But circling back, people are talking about this rap album of the year, Killer Mike. I think the problem that a lot of people have is they get upset when a more popular album or artist wins that's not hip hop or that they don't listen to. But when it's a less popular artist in the same genre that wins, they're upset because the more popular artist that they like didn't win.
Make
And
it
they
make
frame
sense.
as, man, who knows this guy? Nobody even knows this person. Man, this ain't the Billboard Awards.
Right.
Billboard Awards is, who sold the most, who topped the charts, all of that stuff. Like, for instance, when Macklemore won,
This
and
is
pretty
about
much everybody
talent.
that's hating on the Killer Mike decision and saying, man, Utopia, they would have been upset at the Macklemore decision. But Macklemore was smoking hot. He was the hottest. He was sunburned with how smoking hot he was that year. The dude had smash hit on smash hit. It was kind of an independent album, kind of not. It was him and his producer. They did that all on their own, and it was wildly successful and famous. And Kendrick Lamar, let's not get it twisted. He was popping, but he wasn't popping like Macklemore to like a wider, broader audience. But people were upset with that. Okay,
But why
makes
is
sense.
that?
So why?
So when Yassine says stuff like that, I can agree, but in a way that we got to talk about what mainstream and white supremacy looks like, right? Because the mainstream is whiteness. So, all respect, it becomes a thing where Kendrick Lamar or any African American artist can be the most seen that they will ever be seen. But if a white person is on that same level of caliber, they're seen even more, because unfortunately, at least from my lens, I've experienced where black people will support other black people and then also support mainstream or quote unquote crossing over. But sometimes that doesn't translate to white people having the crossover effect of listening to black people, unless we are the stereotypical trap, F your baby mama, shoot up this, shoot up that. Like, it's very hard, especially for a Kendrick Lamar way or Killer Mike, to lyricism, real hip hop fundamental rap. No one's, from the broad scheme of things, the concert buyers, the ticket sellers, coming to support that necessarily, but that never negates that it's more talented than what everybody is supporting, right?
Be upset at this outcome. And the thing is, if you don't even know who Killer Mike is, and you don't even know that he was part of the... I'm not saying you need to listen to everything Killer Mike dropped. Absolutely not. That's absurd. But for you to not know who this person is, and to just not have listened to any of his music, and then be like, why would this guy win? What is wrong with you? Like, when Bach ended up winning, and Kanye like kind of went up stage and went back down and had like a couple of comments to say after, the immediate thing that I did was I looked him up, I saw who he was, and I listened to the album that won before forming any type of judgment. Because my first thing is, whoa, who's this guy? I don't know who he is. But instead of being arrogant and thinking, man, why the hell would this guy win? How much of a fool would I look like if I have that initial response and then I listen to his music and I find out that dude's amazing?
Fire.
And that dude Buck is amazing. Dude plays like 12 instruments, something like that. Probably less. But dude plays a ton of instruments. That album was amazing. He makes great music. He's not the best-selling guy. He's not super famous. He's not on top 10 on the Hot 100, but the guy makes great music. It made sense why he won.
The Grammys is about talent. Who and what was talented this year? Not, again, to his point, billboards. Who sold the most? Who's known the most? Sonically, that's one thing, again, outside of the racial bias of the Grammys, I will say I respect about the Grammys. It is always about musical talent, instrumentation, the skill of creating a symphony, aura-pulling vibe, ambiance, all the creative words that you could say to say this person is uber talented. That is what the Grammys is about. Now, granted, sometimes that is overshadowed with racial bias, because these two people can be equally as talented or just as good, or sometimes someone else of a minority can be even more talented that year in that category, but racial bias will overshadow that with popularity and so forth, and the politics of it all. But at the core, just like hip hop is about fundamental rap and elements for black people, overall the Grammys is about talent. And that's what I respect, because again, you don't have to know these people for them to be crazy talented, and a lot of other people know them outside of you. How many people are there in the world? 7 billion plus? We might be at 8 billion. So we won't know everybody. Everyone won't know everyone. But that doesn't mean that those people that you don't know don't deserve the reward as well.
And it's the same thing with Killer Mike. Now, I didn't listen to this Killer Mike album. I'm going to keep it a buck. But, you know, I've known his work in the past.
I heard the Killer Mike album.
He's largely been, number one, consistent, and he hasn't even won that many things. So, if you guys even remember, I think it's been posted everywhere. On To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar was shouting out Killer Mike. And I know these young bucks are listening to Kendrick Lamar. That's like the same era you could say as, well, I wouldn't say same era. Travis Scott came up a couple of years after. But people like Kai and Aiden, they're listening to Kendrick Lamar. They'll show some respect to Kendrick Lamar. So when he says like, yo, what you kids are paying attention to is not representative of an entirely different demographic, which is adults. And let's keep it a buck. Like, I think Cenat even said this. He's like, yo,
I just used the chord progression.
See, look, I gotta get the Sonics up here on my ass. I respect that. I usually watch these, but I can't sit here for 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Hello, Yassine. I do support other creatives and their ads, though. So if you catch an ad of mine, please check it out. Thank you.
Like, yo, my audience is not... Your audience are children. Same thing with Aiden Ross. Like, it's there, I would say, rarely is anybody above 25 consistently watching these guys. The majority of people that are watching them on the regular are between the ages of 10 and 19. Maybe like 20, 21. Which is cool. Like, it doesn't make you like less than or lame. Maybe to some people. But there's a generation of... There's multiple generations of adults. And it's kind of like when people say stuff like, yo, Playboi Carti or Youngboy, for example. Like, these people both had young audiences. And they'll say, man, Playboi Carti and Youngboy, man, these guys are known globally. No, they're not. What are you talking about? And every time I say this, when I say someone's not a global artist, they're like, nah, man. Like, me and my homies in Rwanda listen to Playboi Carti. Okay, like, respectfully, that doesn't make somebody a global artist.
I'm
There's
mad
probably
he said
an artist
Rwanda.
with 100,000 monthly listeners that has 2 people listening to him in South Africa, 1 person listening to him in Japan, and another person listening to him in Mongolia. That doesn't make him a global artist. A global artist means that not only does your influence spread, but if you went to these places, you would have a large amount of people, like tens of thousands, if not more, that would be willing to go to a show. That's why these people tour globally. Now, Africa's a market not many people tour at. Maybe they'll do a show in South Africa, but for the...
like, why he calling out Africa like that, though? Oh, I don't know how I feel about this right now, y'all see. Back off. Back to look off right now.
Even global artists don't really do shows there. But Youngboy and Playboi Carti, these guys are not really popping. And you can just check. Do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube charts and just look up charts of different countries. Go to the UK, look up the YouTube charts for music, see where, or start at the US. See where they fall in the U.S., Playboi Carti and Youngboy. And then go to the UK and see where they fall. And then go to Japan and see where they fall. And then go to, I don't know, Egypt and see where they fall. And then go to Brazil and see.
Y'all let me know if y'all really like, I want to get into diving more into these reactions. Well, we really will go pull up my Spotify, pull up my Apple Music, and really go toe-to-toe and review this music more thoroughly instead of just giving my opinion. Like I said, on music reactions, I want to give actually more social commentary to the culture of it all. And again, these rankings, I wish he had dived a little bit more so I could comment on it here, but y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. I'm pretty sure I'll start doing that moving forward just for these different artists that we'll react into.
You're going to see that sometimes they're not even in the top 100. Meanwhile, other U.S. acts, like, for example, see that, I don't know, Egypt, and see where they fall. And then go to Brazil and see where they fall. You're going to see that sometimes they're not even in the top 100. Meanwhile, other
was that on purpose?
Acts, like, for example, like Kanye West, Drake, they'll fall in the top 100 of these other countries. Hell, even Bad Bunny for some of these other countries, he's going to fall in that top 100. That's what makes them global artists. But when people are focused and they're kind of in this bubble, which is what I think these streamers are in, where they're hanging out with other streamers who pretty much echo their same, I wouldn't say opinions, because they have different opinions, but echo their same view on what's lit and what's not, and the kids buy into the same thing, that they're shocked when outcomes like this happen. Which, I'm going to keep it a buck, I was not shocked, because when I saw the Grammy nominations, I was like, whoa, these are some interesting nominations for this year. Like, there are a lot of other albums, that could have been up there. Like Gunna, it made sense.
Oh,
right?
yeah, Gunna
Nas,
was hard.
I didn't think that Magic 2 was going to be it. But, you know, it was up there. Utopia, Heroes and Villains, yeah, it made sense. Now, would I say Heroes and Villains was a great album, but this is actually really surprising because this is a producer's album.
Right.
I think any one of these could have won. So it's no surprise. Gift and a Curse, I don't think that one would have won. It was one of the best albums of last year, but last year was relatively weak for mainstream artists. I think it had a great storyline too, the Gunna album, despite great storyline in terms of engagement, despite whether you think of it positively or negatively. But I didn't really like the response that Aiden and Kai kind of gave this guy, which is like, hey, the ironic thing was telling someone that they're more humble than them, when Joe Budden is pretty humble for what he'd been able to do and what he's been able to accomplish. Like, who was another rapper that started podcasting and had a successful podcast? Joe Budden was
Noriega,
like, doing a lot of things
Drink
on the
Champs,
internet before
the
majority of other people caught on. And he could talk about that all the time, yet he doesn't. And it's the irony of telling someone you're more humble than them when you're kind of like trying to sun them is ironic in and of itself. But I just think it's for content as well. Like, he has to kind of get mad at him for the content to get views. And I just think the money thing is lame because, like, money nowadays is not what it once was. Like, it was once a metric for not just hard work, but ingenuity and kind of like, especially if it was done legally, it was like something respectable. But now you've got, dude, you could work your hardest, and there are chicks that are making $1 million.
Don't show Ruby Rose to be disrespectful now.
Like, for you to make, like, you can't even compare money at that point. If kind of like the doors have opened to unscrupulous characters to make money. And Aiden Ross, let's keep it a buck, the majority of his wealth comes from and came from promoting shady online crypto casino gambling. So yeah, I mean, Kai, I would say like he's like a legitimate straight shooter. He's made his money in ways that aren't exploitative. I kind of don't like to use that word because it rubs me the wrong way because it's misused a lot of the times. But I think we can say like someone shilling like a certain type of gambling is exploitative to a degree, especially to a children's audience. Now, when the bag is that big, I understand why people decide to look the other way, but that's also how we get a lot of problems in our society when people decide to look the other way for things that don't necessarily bother them and they don't see the effects of. That's a conversation for another day, one that I don't really like to have right now. But yeah, I don't think Joe Budden cares about money. And it's also, it gets to a point is, like, when is it enough money? It's like, Joe Budden's definitely a millionaire. Like, he's got a nice home. He doesn't really have to worry about money. He can buy a car, any car he wants. He can buy, I don't know, flight that he wants. Maybe he can't fly private all the time. I don't think he even really cares to travel unless he's going on vacation or something. So, like, let's just say Joe Budden makes $1 million a year, right? I mean, Joe Budden probably sees this, he's like, man, that's disrespectful saying I make $1 million a year, especially now that I'm taking these sponsorships. But let's just say Joe Budden makes $1 million a year, right? Like, does Aiden Ross making, I don't know, let's just say 50, right? Let's skyball Aiden Ross. Does Aiden Ross making $50 million a year and Cenat making $30 million a year? Like, is that really that much different? Like, what can they do? I mean, either way, these guys are sitting at the crib. Aiden Ross self-admittedly sits at the crib the majority of the day on like a Discord call with his homies, which there's nothing wrong with. But what does you having that much more money like give you over him? Now, there is a big deal when like someone's living in a crabby apartment and they've got like rats and roaches, and then maybe they're living in a decently spacious place and maybe now they've got a home. But once everything's,
I was about to say, I was going to pause it there anyway, because we're at the point where, like I was saying earlier, they're eliminating the middle class. So it's either, like to his point about money not even being that big of a factor, it's only not that big of a factor because either you got it or you don't. Because wherever your finances are for what your bills currently are, that's the same level for a millionaire or a billionaire when their bills and expenses are on their level, if that makes sense. So it's like you can have $1 million and all your bills add up to $999,999, and you back to $1 again, bro. So again, it all goes back to budgeting and how you manage your money versus how much money you actually have, right? Now, granted, some of that things can afford you things that look better and things that are maybe even more than what other people can have, but there's a very thin line between having it and not having it.
it's like, what are you even flexing about? And to who? I just don't get it. Maybe I never like was so money focused, which probably like a problem that I should take a look at, and I probably should focus on making more money, but I just don't see why making a 50, 100 million is so much better than somebody making 5 to 10. And I don't think it makes that person that much better. Now, if he's operating in the same field, I would say otherwise. And let's keep it a buck. When it comes strictly to hip hop, Joe Budden has the ear of influential people. Now, who are influential people? Rappers, producers, managers, agents, etc., stuff like that. People that are actually the movers and shakers. Now, Adin Ross and Kai Cenat, they'll do more numbers. Maybe they'll drum up attention. Maybe they'll go viral. But these executives aren't listening to Adin Ross and Kai Cenat for their opinions. They're not
Maybe
listening
they
to
should
them
be, though.
to, like, opinions in terms of they're not respecting these guys' opinions. They'll respect what Joe Budden has to say. And
I feel like that should be 50-50 though. Like, because there are a lot of new artists and times are evolving. I feel like what Kai has to say can be influential. Like, again, him saying that Utopia was a really good album isn't negating the fact that Killer Mike won. It's just stating that Utopia was an awesome freaking album, which I agree. So I feel like as a self-proclaimed independent A&R myself, it's just one of those things where we have to merge the two. And I do feel like we are getting back to a time where we are respecting music again and people aren't just tolerating any and everything. But that's not to say that young people can't come with quality and can't understand what quality looks like. So I think it should be respected from every angle. We should kind of like summarize it as a whole for what's good for the greater good, not just for old heads or for young folks, right?
Difference too, where young people kind of need to shut up, we need to do this sometimes, is Joe Budden went through the industry. The guy got a record deal when not anybody could just get popping on the internet. The internet really wasn't even a thing. He had a hit, and you know, under certain circumstances, we're not cutting that out, he ended up not having such a lucrative career. Part of that maybe is him not wanting to comply with what the record label wanted. There are so many different factors, and luck is such an important factor in certain career paths. Number one is athletics, and number two is like music. Things could go so many different ways, and part of the reason why a lot of artists are still successful is not just because they consistently made good music, but there's an element of luck to it. Like maybe they didn't end up in a bad deal. Like for instance, Lupe Fiasco talks about how I think when he went to Atlantic, he went there because Jay-Z told him that he was going to become president or an executive there, and if that had happened, he favored Lupe Fiasco heavily, so things would have gone a little bit different. But Jay-Z ended up taking a different opportunity. So now Lupe Fiasco was in a position where, yo, I'm signed to this place that I thought was going to turn out differently than what I had anticipated. So now you get this different friction. You're kind of stuck in a deal. You don't know what's going to happen. The deal is for 5 albums. That could be anywhere from like 6 to 10 years, and they can push it. So your career is kind of at the fate of someone else. And this is how music went. But regardless, Joe Budden managed to keep a career. It's not like Joe Budden fell off. He kept a career, a decently successful career. He was able to feed his family. He was doing okay. He did reality TV. He did podcasting. Like, he's done so many different types of media. He did Everyday Struggle, which is arguably the most, these guys definitely watched Everyday Struggle, which is the funny part. It's one of the most successful shows ever.
Yeah,
and I
he's
don't think they should bring it back
the
because that dynamic
world
just isn't really replicable anymore. I don't think so. It's a good thing that like will stay as a stamp in history. But this guy's gone through this whole industry. He's seen everything, and now he's talking about it on the other side. These guys are young bucks, which goes to show they're good at entertaining people, but they don't know the ins and outs of things like Joe Budden does, which is why certain people don't look to their opinion for certain things like this. Now, they move and shake things marketing-wise, but that's a distinction people need to make. And one of the most important things on the internet, not all numbers are created equal. Like, having 100,000 10-year-olds listening and paying attention to you is not the same as having 100 CEOs that are listening and paying attention to you and respecting you. I'm not saying that the former or the latter is Joe Budden or Adin Ross, but I'm just trying to create that separation where people just look at a number and see, whoa, that's 100,000. No, numbers are very different based on who's comprised in those numbers. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Now, I feel like he has some really good points in that. Like, overall, I don't feel like it should be old heads versus young folks. But y'all let me know. We talked throughout this. Please don't. Absolutely not. Sorry. I knew it was trying to play in the background. My bad. But y'all let me know. Drop it in comments. I'm interested in doing more stuff like this. Actually getting into social commentary on what's going on culturally within hip hop, within media and entertainment, especially from the Black Twitter side of things. So give me recommendations. and topics, things you want to see me react to and talk about and discuss. If you want to start seeing me go live, if that's on Twitch or on YouTube, just let me know. I'm getting into that too. Again, we're going to test out a couple of different things, but I'm interested to come have a back and forth with you guys on what you would like to see over here on All Things Chrshy. But I think this was a good one. I think Yassine made some good points. I think Joe made some good points. Kai made some good points. And overall, there's a middle ground to be met at, right? But y'all let me know. Let's keep the conversation going. I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction, enjoyed the video. And if you enjoyed this one, you're probably going to like this one as well. Catch you in the next one. Peace.